indeed back. You are listening to IBGR.network, and IBGR is a call sign of a radio station. But we are so much more than a radio station. The International Business Growth Radio Network is a global group of entrepreneurs helping you to become more effective with all the knowledge we are sharing with you all the time. And that's why if you see something in this, if you hear something in this, like it, make some comments, ask some questions, but also make sure that you like and share it, whether you're listening to the podcast or you go to share, bring people to the IBGR.network, because we're not for nothing only in season 4 and yet already in 152 countries. That's because many of you are liking the programs, not just mine, there's 24/7 there's programs on all kinds of subjects, but because you are sharing it with people who you know might benefit from some of the information that they need to become more effective and more successful as entrepreneurs. So, I'm your host, Jan Robberts, inspirational entrepreneur, and this is already season 4 and session 7, episode 7 even. And I'm talking about habits and whether they are dangerous or whether they provide opportunity. Now, I've already talked into what habits are and why they're so powerful and how they work in its basic form, because that would be a whole program all by itself. But to give you some background idea, and I would suggest that you go to the book The Power of Habit. I've put it in the show notes as a resource, so you know where to find it. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, I think his name is. But I mean, you'll find them there, and It is exactly called The Power of Habit. But there is so many resources available, but you need to become aware of them first. And I hope this gives you some awareness. And I'm talking into 12 different small habits that you need to acquire if you want to become more effective as an entrepreneur, and indeed as a person. But I mean, I'm talking into entrepreneurship, and I found these in an entrepreneurial magazine, if you like. Yes, it was. And they made so much sense to me, and they're small, simple habits that you need to change. So I've already gone through 5 of them. The last one was that you need me time, that you need to take time out for yourself, this kind of stuff, rather than be busy all the time and go to sleep under stress and you can only sleep 3 hours. I mean, that's another point I just covered yesterday in my self-care program on key leadership, where I do 2 weeks already of self-care, because it's so important to everybody, especially just now. But what successful entrepreneurs also do is they are effective entrepreneurs. They join groups outside of work. Now there's a life outside of the office, as they say, and effective entrepreneurs embrace this. They involve themselves in all kinds of groups that fit their tastes, whether it's a CrossFit, yoga, church, charity, travel, or other extracurricular. They used to call them in school, and I'm going back a few years, extracurricular activities. Yes, put the teeth back in. But it's extracurricular fun here, because these groups get them out of their business mode, and you need to get out of that into a more relaxed state where they can enjoy the fruits of their hard work. See, there's many people who actually work all the time. They've got no time for hobbies. Then they say, I'm going to do that at 65. First of all, they're hoping to get to 65, and then secondly, have enough finances to do the kind of hobbies they would like. Or third one, they don't even know what hobbies they could even start anymore because of ill health or lack of resources, or just have no clue anymore because they never did any, and there are no groups. So there is all that kind of stuff. So you need to join these groups. And then, of course, they ignore the naysayers. Whoa, if you're an entrepreneur, you've probably had plenty already. But successful entrepreneurs have likely lost more relationships than they have gained. Why? Because the path narrows. As you get to the top, as you get to become more successful, it narrows. And the more successful they become, the more people shoot arrows of jealousy and naysaying in their direction. They said, sometimes if you stick your head out of the crowd, there is always people who will take a shot at it. So they do not give them attention. If Matt Damon can drop out of a Harvard, write a movie, have Robin Williams star in it and win an Oscar, then it's possible for any of us. I like that example. You can listen to it again. It's possible for any of us to achieve our dreams we set out to achieve. So the great success work hard, ignore the jealousy, the chatter, cruel stabs, and have grit to not stop until they make it to the top. You will until. I'm talking into that persistence again, that consistency, that focus, that undeniable focus, and that passion and perseverance that I always talk about. You've got passion, you've got perseverance, you need that growth, you need that self-care, you need to get, if you ever want to reach the potential, that God-given potential each and every one of us has got, then you need to keep going, despite, and you can feel that in yourself. You need to have that focus, and it's not always the passion that drives us, but it's a great starting point, because you don't need to you don't need to get told to get out of bed when you've got a passion. You know why you're in this world. The 2 days in your life that are important: the day you were born and the day you discover why. I talked into you why as well some sessions ago, some episodes ago. You can look into that again. It's so important. It makes a big difference in if you become successful, how successful you become, and when you become that successful, because it is a driving force. And then they stop negotiating with their time for self-care. Now, I mentioned that already, that they need self-care, but this is also so important, because effective entrepreneurs value time as their most precious commodity. Now, how many of you are actually just work day and night and just have no chance? Their health is not as it should be. They eat on the fly, ping dinners and all this kind of stuff. And no, but they understand that they must maintain their much needed quiet time to avoid burnout. For this reason, they pre-plan vacation time, take days off work when sick. They don't keep going when sick or otherwise necessary. And time for self-care is sacred as in an effective entrepreneur's world. So that covers number 5 and number 8 I talked about. But time for self-care is sacred in an effective entrepreneur's world. So if you're an entrepreneur, or if you're a budding entrepreneur, make sure you already start building some of that in. Ensure you look after yourself, because you matter, you're important, you're no good to your business, you're no good to your family, you're no good to your friends or your social circles, or to your clients if you're ill or dead. It's as simple as that. So then we have then number 9 is they embrace the chaos. Yeah. Any journey towards success will have chaos as a fundamental part of the process. Mistakes will be made. They will need to fire people. They will get screwed over, lose money, and have to recover. Hence, there will be frustration and failure. But to be effective, they know they cannot shy away from the chaos or cower under its power. Rather than see the chaos as something they must study, face and conquer, and that's the important thing. Know what your chaos is and fight it. Sometimes you need to fight it head on. But every run-in with chaos successfully handled is one step further along the path of living your dream. There's a few more I wanted to, and these are all simple steps, by the way, as you notice. It's not huge things, but all these simple steps will be life-enhancing. Because these simple 12 steps I'm talking about will ensure you become a more effective and therefore a more successful entrepreneur. I hope that makes sense. To all of you. Then they seek support of like-minded people. It keeps turning, they seek others, but also see effective entrepreneurs view themselves as learners. See, that's a little bit different than the other one I talked about, where you actually they work with others. But it's not easy task working to be the best at what you have to do. However, the healthy medicine they need is the support they get from others who are like-minded and similarly driven. And that's something else that is very powerful. So effective entrepreneurs do not see an end date to their success, so they continue learning and growing. And it's crucial to have successful people to mentor, support, and teach them. It is also important for them to play the role for others, so to pay it forward. So what they do is that they give and receive, do more enjoyable. It makes a career and a journey more enjoyable, because if you if you get from others, you also need to give back, if you like. And that's what they do as well. They pay it forward. That's why in this in IBGR.network, we've got so many amazing people who basically given back of their experience. What we're really doing is paying forward some of the stuff that we know will help you in all the different categories that we've got at IBGR.network. So that's what I'm saying, like and share this with your friend, because you might not have the knowledge, but you've now heard about the knowledge, and you can pay it forward by bringing other people to the platform where they might benefit so much from all the different areas that are in here, or even some specific areas. There might be one thing they hear that might bring them more success than they've had so far, and you will be thanked eternally for having done that. Then number 11 is they have supplies of motivation and information at hand. Now, successful entrepreneurs are never without motivational quotes, books and audiobooks or seminars on hand at all time. Well, I mean, my friend and mentor Les Brown, it was his birthday yesterday. I love the guy to bits. I mean, he's been a huge influence in my life already, and still is, and hopefully for a long time yet. He's only 76 years young anyway, but amazing guy. And there's many others, and I've got them all the time. But they've also got copious notes on their computers on paper contracts and other kind of stuff. It's very important. And another very important one. We're getting near the end again. They don't take themselves too seriously. So I can explain that, but I mean, life is serious enough to get through, but don't take yourself too seriously all the time. Now, 12 simple steps that help you on your way. Now, I didn't say it was easy, but simple. So if you want to become more effective, if you want to become more successful, start implementing these kind of things. And before you know it, there will be some of the habits that will make you much more effective as an entrepreneur. I hope that makes a lot of sense. And we're just near the end. If you want to get in touch with me, my name is Jan Robberts, your show host this week. I've already talked about IBGR. Join us. Tina Ogbugo is next. And next week I will be talking about mind power for success. So remember, nothing happens by chance. It happens by choice. So choose wisely, and I'll see you next week. Take care.